So I've talked a lot about reconditioning, and I thought it might be a good idea to kind of give you an idea of what we define as reconditioning versus restoration. One of the things I tell people about reconditioning is that unlike restoration, where most of the parts get replaced, the parts on the pre-owned instruments are going to be original. But we want to make the piano play as good as it can, look as new as possible, or when it look as good as new, I should say. And then we are able to put a 2-year warranty on the piano when we sell it. Now, it's not only for the pianos that we sell. There are clients that we do this reconditioning process with and for on their pianos, because let's face it, all those moving parts aren't going to stay in alignment forever, especially if you're using your piano quite a bit. So we're going to go to the back and I'll show you the reconditioning, or one of the reconditioning bays that we have where we are currently working on a client's piano. So here's a Mason and Hamlin that we're doing the reconditioning process to. One of the things we do start with is cleaning those strings, and we're going to make sure that all the dust is out of there as well. And then the brass will get polished at some point. And so Matthew is working on the regulating of the piano. Can you tell me, Matthew, what you've done so far on this piano?
So far with this one, one of the first things I had to go through and do, all of the moving parts are basically held together with small middle pins that go through a felt bushing and a piece of wood to create the right level of friction. On this particular one, a lot of those pins were on their way working out, so those had to be replaced, properly sized, and then going through and filing down the hammer felts so that they're smooth, even, get the grooves of the strings out of there, and so that they can come flat into contact with the strings, so that way they make, optimal sound, optimal contacts. From there, the process switched to getting all of the keys into a relatively level line. It's the process of getting all of the hammers so that they move as straight as possible and make contact with the string so that the middle string is struck by the middle of the hammer. You have to go through and line up all of the whip-ins so that they make contact with the right spot on the hammer knuckle here. And,
Here's the hammer knuckle.
And then as much as possible while doing that, you want to try and get this little jack at the bottom to strike as close to the middle of this spot as possible. That way it doesn't get too offset, you get an even hit. There's what we refer to as the let off, which is the point that the key stops pushing the hammer and it just moves by momentum. On grand pianos, it's about 1.5 to 2 millimeters. So then we're aligning these jacks to their proper position against this wooden part in that knuckle of the hammer. So we put this all back into the piano and go through and set the dip of the key. So the idea is that everything falls to the same level. That way it creates an even playing. Once we've got the key dip set, we go through and set the back checking, which is where the hammer will fall back down after it hits the string. It looks very different in the piano because the string actually pushes it back. After back checking, we set the spring tension. It's actually easiest to see from the side here. But inside the whip-ins, there's this spring. And so the idea is to create enough tension so that the jack can return, this repetition lever can return properly. The basic process is kind of quickly go back through everything, because every time you change anything, it changes something else. So it's kind of get it all there and then see what's changed and touch it up. And so that's actually where I'm at right now, is kind of doing the hammers again, getting those leveled back out. And then I'm putting it back in. We'll redo key dip and just go from there. And hopefully nothing's changed too much.
So do we do this on all the pianos that get reconditioned here?
Anything that gets a regulation, yep.
Pretty much we're doing this on uprights and grands.
Yes.
Customer pianos, pianos for sale.
Yep. Anything that comes by me, this is what I'm doing.
This is the process.
And then the last thing I'll do, once I'm done going back over this, we'll be going through the dampers. which starts with making sure the pedal, they all come up at the same time. And then also we will be going through and making sure that with the action back in, they come up at the right, when the hammer's the right distance from the string. So kind of adjusting the heads and the wires that move these to make sure that they actually fit and sit properly on the strings. Otherwise, they will not dampen properly.
There is a component.
Yeah, because the way
That affects the
they
touch.
work to the key is the back of the keys have an extra little tab that sticks out and catches these little tabs. So the minute that those make contact, that's immediate extra weight.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So reconditioning includes a full regulation, polishing of the hardware, refreshing of the finish if necessary, tuning, voicing, and our pre-owned pianos will get a 2-year mechanical warranty because we know exactly the condition that they are in when they come to your home. Right now, we are having a spring sale. Select grands are on clearance, and all uprights are 10% off. I hope to see you soon.